Hello, my motor enthusiasts. Brace yourselves for a tale of unexpected dominance as Red Bull Racing, steered by Chief Technical Officer Adrian Newey, has taken the 2023 Formula One season by storm. Despite the introduction of new ground effect regulations in 2022, the team clinched both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships, a feat not seen since 2013. Our man Max Verstappen secured his second driver's title, breaking records with a whopping 19 race victories. Red Bull finished the season a staggering 451 points ahead of second-placed Mercedes. Surprising, isn't it? Even Newey himself admitted to being taken aback by their performance, debunking expectations of their advantage being watered down due to minimal regulation changes. He sheds light on the challenges of regulation changes and the ensuing complications, such as the dreaded porpoising effect. Despite the difficulties in simulation, Red Bull's performance has surpassed expectations, painting an intriguing picture for the sport's future. Quite the high-speed saga, wouldn't you say? Right then, for those who might be new here, I'm your host Enzo, an old hand at this racing game, bringing you the latest in the world of Formula One. Joining me is the ever-watchful, eloquent Mr. William from Birmingham, our resident expert commentator. We're here on the F1 Motor Fever podcast, your daily pit stop for all things Formula One. If you're enjoying our content, make sure to subscribe, turn on those notifications, and leave a comment. Don't forget to share our episodes with your family and friends. Every bit of support counts in keeping us on the airwaves. As for today's topic, well, let's just say it's not every day you see a team outpace the competition by over 400 points. And that's not even the most shocking bit, but more on that later. Mr. William, are you ready to explore this high-speed surprise with me?
Absolutely, Enzo. Let's unravel this unexpected dominance.
Magnificent. Stick around, folks. You won't believe the twists in this tale. Full throttle. Well, the Milton Keynes-based squad's performance this past season has certainly raised eyebrows. To think, after ground effect regulations were introduced in 2022, instead of falling behind, Red Bull went on to clinch both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships for the first time in a decade. Truly an unexpected performance, wouldn't you agree?
It's absolutely mind-boggling. The sport hasn't seen a team this dominant since the heyday of Red Bull in 2013. It's particularly surprising because, with minimal changes in the rules for the following year, one would have expected the gap between Red Bull and the rest of the field to close. But that's not how it played out, is it?
Not at all. Verstappen clinched 19 race victories, shattering previous records, and the team ended the season with a 451-point advantage over second-placed Mercedes. When asked in an interview whether it surprised him that such dominance is still possible in the modern era, Newey admitted it was a complete surprise.
Fascinating. So, it seems that despite the biggest regulation change on the chassis side since 1983, Red Bull managed to maintain and even amplify their advantage. How did they manage that?
That's a great question. Newey stated that they thought their advantage would be diminished given the minimal regulation change and them running what is essentially an evolution car. But clearly, that's not how things turned out. Newey also commented on how he enjoys the challenges posed by regulation changes, not just for the loopholes, but also the demands of the regulations and their effects on the principles of the car's layout.
That's enlightening. So, the return of the ground effect posed its own set of challenges, and Newey, with his experience from IndyCar, was presumably well equipped to navigate them.
Absolutely. Being aware of the pitfalls, they were very mindful of factors like suspension characteristics and body stiffness when they were designing the RB19. It's interesting that Newey mentioned the issue of porpoising. It's an unexpected issue, but apparently they had it under control by the first race, unlike others.
Indeed, it's a complex problem to analyze using simulation tools. As Newey says, simulating porpoising in a wind tunnel or in CFD isn't a piece of cake.
Absolutely. And it's a transient problem too. There's no motion to the car relative to the road, so it's not something you'd spot unless you're specifically looking for it.
Right. And that's the tricky part about simulations. They're dependent on what you feed into them. If you're not looking in the right place or inputting the right variables, you're not going to get an accurate result.
It's a fascinating insight into how these teams operate, isn't it? The strategic thinking, the technical expertise, and the relentless attention to detail that goes into every season. It makes the sport all the more thrilling to follow. William, what are the fans saying on the internet today?
Listen to this. Floyd Bakes poses an interesting question. He asks, quote, "Who's the most academically qualified Formula One driver?" unquote. He goes on to say that we often only focus on the drivers' racing careers and rarely consider their academic life.
Oh, that's a different angle. Any interesting responses?
Yes, indeed. Ruboy4 points out that Jolyon Palmer's dad, Jonathan Palmer, was a fully qualified doctor while racing in the 80s, making him one of the most qualified drivers in F1 history, academically.
Ah, Dr. Jonathan Palmer. Now there's a name from the past.
92X Sabaru even mentions that Murray Walker always referred to him as Dr. Jonathan Palmer.
Classic Murray. What about the current grid? Any boffins there?
Well, according to my Antichrist, a lot of pro athletes are studying part-time during their active careers. It wouldn't be surprising if some current drivers are doing the same.
Interesting. Any specific examples?
Dragon Puncher mentions that Bottas finished his education as an auto mechanic and even got rank of Lance Corporal in the army. He's arguably one of the best qualified on the current grid.
Bottas, the mechanic, and a soldier. Huh, who knew? Well, that's been a fascinating little detour into the driver's off-track achievements, hasn't it? Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode of F1 Motor Fever Podcast. We've journeyed through the intricacies of the previous race and some interesting trivia about the drivers. Thank you all for being part of our audience. Remember, we love hearing from you, so do leave a comment, like, and share our podcast. Make sure you're subscribed and have your notifications on so you never miss a race analysis.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. We've had a blast, and hope you did too. And trust me, you don't want to miss what we've got in store. So make sure you're back with us for the next episode. And remember, whether you're chatting about Formula One in the pub with mates or debating over Sunday lunch with the family, do mention the podcast. You never know who else might be keen to join our growing community.
It's been a pleasure to have you with us, and we look forward to the next time. Until then, remember, pedal to the metal, keep your gaze on the road. Our channel's content is pure gold.